Good morning. This morning we are up at the Union Tunnel Canal Park, and it promises to be a much more exciting park than the last couple that I went to because there's lots of ruins and lots of history here. It's an 80-degree day, so I pulled my hair up. I have a hat to put on a little bit later and using my sunscreen. But I'm going to start out and follow the map that's on all trails for the park, and let's weave through and see what we can find. Okay, so at the little kiosk in the parking lot, I found this map. They have them there. There's a bunch of them there. And we are starting from the parking lot at Fisherman's Lawn, it looks like. So from where I parked, there's a nice little open area out there, some benches you can go out, and there's a little pavilion here off to the left to sit, and I guess people have picnics and stuff, the usual there. Some construction going on over here at this barn, but we're hopefully moving away from that. I want to go to the very front and the very beginning of the trail that I saw on my way in, and just start from the beginning. Okay, so I saw on this little brochure, this is the Crawl Barn. It was built in Shaverstown in 1796, a double log crib structure. It's typical of the long barns built by the early settlers of the area and one of its last type left in Lebanon County. The barn was donated to the Lebanon County Historical Society and has been relocated to the park. When construction is complete, the barn will be used for educational and recreational purposes. Now, there's a little path here by this sign, but it says notice volunteers only, so I guess I'm not going to go up that way. So we're going to head around, unless, well, let me see here. Not sure. Okay, yeah, that just led back to some utility buildings. So I walked down the driveway here where the entrance is from the road, and the path, I believe, starts right up here past this little wall here. We're gonna walk up to the wall and see if there's anything to see from here, and then we're gonna proceed. Okay, you can see some of the length of this canal here. There's some people fishing in it up here off the little dock, right near where I parked. And apparently they do give canal tours, so I'll have to check into that. There's one of the boats, I guess, that they use on the canal tour. And then right around that wall is where the path starts. So we're going to head that way and make our way through the park and see what we see. According to the brochure here, it says this is the tow path, which would have been where the mules or whatever pulled the canal boats. So before we get too far away, off to my left here, right in front of where I parked, I guess that looks like it's called Sunset View Meadow and the Great Lawn. A lot of, I guess, algae on top of the water here. And I see some of, when he's swimming around, he's trying to get through the muck using the paths of the least resistance. Oh, by him, just find some. Path right now has the chipwood on it, and it may be that way the whole way up through. A couple paths to go back down into the meadow there, and while I'm walking, I can read you a little bit of the history here. The Union Canal is the oldest existing transportation tunnel in the United States and served as the connecting link between the eastern and western branches of the Union Canal. The canal connected the Schuylkill River with the Susquehanna River, thus providing passage for water from Philadelphia to Harrisburg. Dug through the ridge dividing the waters of the Quittapahilla Creek and Clark's Run, the tunnel was originally 729 feet long. Drilling was done by hand using a star drill and blasting through black powder through argillaceous rocks with many veins of flinty limestone 80 feet below the summit of the ridge. Progress of the work was 5 yards per week. Wow. It says work began in May of 1825, was completed in June of 1827 at a cost of $30,404.29. The tunnel's length was reduced to 621 feet during the canal's enlargement of 1858, when there were 3 feet of rock removed from the ceiling, increasing the height from 15 to 18 feet, and the width remained at 18 feet. The first boat to pass through the tunnel was Alpha of Tulpahan on June 12, 1827. Boats were pulled through the tunnel by pushing against the ceiling or walls, while the mules were walked up and over top of the bridge. Designated a National Historic Civil Engineering Landmark in 1970, the tunnel received its recognition as a historic landmark by the U.S. Department of Interior April 9, 1994. So there's some background information. Coming up here, I see 2 birds. I can never tell if they're ducks or geese, so pardon my ignorance. These kind of look like geese to me because they're pretty big and their necks look a bit longer. Hopefully they won't give me any trouble. They're just kind of looking at me, looking back at the water. And we are at the first really cool tunnel here. I wonder if I can go across that little boardwalk without them getting offended. Okay, they let me go by, but they stared me down the whole time. And there's actually 3 of them in the water. One's still watching me. Oh, little flutter there. Over here we have a information sign, and I had taken pictures of these lottery tickets back on the other sign. Here's another one, and there's some information on that. There's some of the elevation information and some pictures with some information about the canal and its operations. So if you want to pause the video to read any of those, you may, and then I guess you'll have to blow them up, but there they are. And this here, according to the map, is the South Portal. Let's go check it out. It's pretty nicely restored or intact structure. And there's some steps to go down and look at it a little more closely. Kind of hard to hold on to this brochure and film, but the water is pretty murky. Lots of algae, seaweed, very green. I love these intact structures like this, especially when there's no graffiti on them. You can see all the way to the end of the tunnel there. Don't think anybody ever would want to get in that water, at least without waders on. I don't think you're allowed to either. But just check out how strong and thick these walls were. I bet this is at least 3 feet wide here. And there's a plaque on the other side that this has been donated as and designated as a National Historic Landmark in 1994, as I just read from the brochure. Pretty cool. So if you go past that, you can't go inside the gate. I mean, I guess you could, but I wouldn't want to violate any rules or anything. Up the hill and around goes back to the other side of the canal, just on a trail. But we want to continue on the longer loop through the park. So this is apparently the Lost Mule Trail, and no more chips on the trail, just fine gravel and some grass. Very pretty, very quiet. Not a lot of people here. It's around 3 in the afternoon. I got a little bit earlier start today because I was off last night, and instead of getting up at 2:30 or 3, I was able to get up at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and get out here a little earlier today. So on a side path here, I saw this structure. Obviously a pretty solid old structure, but the map here for some reason doesn't mention what this is. Let me see. There's just a tree that went through it or something wooden back there. I can't tell. I have to walk back a little bit. Be careful here. And I guess it's concrete. And it looks to be like there's a window or a couple windows or openings back through there. Not sure how to get around to that unless I walk through all of this. Maybe you can see a little bit further back. And then on the other side of it, you can see more of a wall. So let's go over there. So you can see there's some cement here and a tiny path back to go take a gander at this thing. I wish parks would label stuff better. I am not a connoisseur of canals and locks. I just love to visit them and see them, but it would be nice to know what some of the ruins are and structures, especially in a big park like this. But look at that. Get up in here a little bit. I'm gonna be back out here. Goes on for a little ways. Most of it's covered with some dense brush. There's some openings here. Oh, there's a backside to it. Let's check it out. Not even one-handed today because I have this brochure in my other hand. But this was obviously made for a reason, and I see a squirrel back there. Can't quite figure it out. There's another little area with concrete beside it. There's some concrete along there, and this is concrete coming into it off the trail. And you can go, I guess, under these trees to look at it closer. I just kind of wanted to see where it ended, which seems to be about here, through these trees, down under. But it's definitely a pretty long wall. Don't have my tape measure, nor would I measure this thing, but I would guesstimate at least 50 feet or more. So at this juncture, there's 1, 2, and there's another trail back there, 3 places, 3 ways to go. I'm gonna head this way and see where this one goes, which is past what we just looked at, because it seems to me that All Trails is taking me this way. The park map and All Trails are very different, so it's gonna be just, you know, following a little bit of both and seeing what I can see. And as I came out of the woods, I came out into this meadow area. So maybe this is the Great Lawn. And I ran into this sign that says Lost Mule Trail. So I guess it would take us back through the woods there to where we were previously. I don't know. I'm always just a little confused in these places. I guess I should probably stick to one map. Okay, I guess I wasn't on the Lost Mule Trail. I would have had to go up and around, but it does connect back down to this. And this is apparently the Scout Meadow and not the Great Lawn. That was back there somewhere. I guess if I would have taken another direction. But we're going to keep going this way because it looks like this trail goes out to the rail trail connector. So let's just see how that works out, and then we'll continue on. I want to go back along here to try to find a Dynamite Hill. Sounds like an interesting place. Okay, a couple of paths off to the side, they go out to the Lebanon Valley Rail Trail. That's where we connect there, and can connect up here as well. These are kind of unmarked but obvious paths through the woods here. You can hear some traffic going on to my right. See a cardinal up there. The paths everywhere back through here. I know that way goes out to the rail trail. Come around this circle. See someone's been digging here. There's a shovel and there's a tree stand. There's a lawn out there. Made a circle, I guess. And we are back out on the lawn. We came out up there, following the lawn around. Came across this bench, but it has this cool little box on it. I don't know what that's for out here, but it's cute. Okay, we're at another three-way. That's where we came from, and if you follow that pavement back up, it goes to the Lebanon Valley Rail Trail. Okay, I think I'm going to go towards the red fox and bluebird trails. Down through these trees is the bluebird trail. The red fox trail is off to my right, and it just kind of loops back around. So we'll follow this. It's a pretty little area. And it's such a nice day, a little warm. Like I said, I put my hair up, have my hydration vest on. Still walking around trying to decide which trails have what. Okay, this is supposed to be the Dynamite Trail. Piles of rocks. Doesn't look very long. Honestly, I really thought they would have more plaques and historical markers here. And the map on the brochure that they give out doesn't list, other than the actual canal, doesn't list anything else to go see. A little bit disappointing. So we're back where we started, near the parking lot. It says there's a trail that goes up through that way, and I can see the trail pretty much the whole way through. It's just some tree-lined trail with some benches. There's nothing that I can see. We actually saw it from afar across the meadows. So there's one more trail here. I want to go seek it out and see what we can find there. Okay, I've walked around most of this side of the park. I'm going to drive up here to hit the north portal of the canal and walk around that a little bit. Okay, so just arrived at the north portal parking lot for the new Union Canal Tunnel Park. It's a lot smaller, seems a lot nicer in my opinion. It's not a very long trail, but we're gonna start up here with this plaque and see if it has anything new to tell us. Okay, so this part here says it's the mule path over Tunnel Hill. You can pause and read it if you want. I'll take a picture and put it on here as well. That would be going up the hill there, I imagine, coming down all the way over the railing here. You can see more of the canal down there. But we're gonna start down here next to the canal. Nice little pavilion. It's actually cooling off finally. Boy, I sat in my car for a good 5 or 10 minutes just cooling off in the air conditioning. We wanted this warm weather, so I guess I shouldn't complain. Just saw a bunny hop along the grass here, and I see up there there's a couple more geese. Boy, they are everywhere right now. Lots and lots of geese. We're gonna head down along this area, but you can already see there's some signs of the canal right there. Little plaque here that talks about the construction of the Union Canal. I'm sure it's difficult to read. I'll try to get a picture and post it. So there's a little tunnel type thing over there, a little covert, really pretty. So maybe, and this goes up a little ways this way, so we're gonna do that first. And maybe this was the mule path and not up there on the hill. I don't know. I just try to figure it out as I go. Very pretty. Little dock here you can stand on. Path continues that way, up around the bend. So you can see all along this little path leading up to this tunnel, there's definitely a structure of some sort that was built up to hold up. Maybe that was the towpath up there. I don't know. Really should brush up on my knowledge when it comes to that. I just sort of always head out to things and look later. But here is the north end of the canal, the north portal, and yet another plaque. You can pause to read if you'd like. Let's head out to the very end here. So what I think is really cool about these things is not just the fact that they're here, although that's cool, is all the different types of stonework that's done. There's a wall here jutting out from this side, possibly something to hold, oh my gosh, yeah, hold this wall up, or the embankment. You can see where there's some blasting or some, you know, just different rock formations. And then you have not just one wall, you have both of the side walls, the wall that goes across the top of the tunnel. There's different types of stonework in there, and then you have the archway, which is a different type of stone. And you go up, and along the top there's also a wall. Going back out, I see across the way here, it looks like there's a little cave over there. Maybe just an animal shelter type of thing. Lots and lots of scum on top of this water. Pretty gross. I definitely wouldn't want to step foot in there. So let's head back up the other way. So my All Trails map shut down back there. I don't know if it was in between, because we're in between two rock walls. That doesn't normally happen, but it is starting to cool off. I didn't put back on my hydration vest because for some reason, and it may be because I've done so much walking this week, my back is hurting today, and having the hydration pack on just adds a little bit of weight. They're just right here. There's the little path, and there they are, picking around in the grass. I can see down in the water here some fish. Little fish, but fish nonetheless. Don't know if I could. No, you're not going to be able to see them through my cell phone. One of these days, maybe I'll have enough money to buy a good camera. Okay, we're at the end of the path. It makes a turn, goes across this bridge. Took a photo of that plaque there. The sign down there says, "Keep off the dams." Interesting. I guess people do try to go on them. I would never chance it with that disgusting looking water, but you can see down through here, the water is going over the edge there. On the other side, there's some more stonework and another culvert. So sunny out. Hard to see things. We'll walk up around here as well. I see there's another side to this. Hello, bee. There's a gate though. Oh, well, there's a pond over there, and it looks like it says private property, so we can't see on the other side of that. Huh. That's a shame. There's a little bridge in the distance too that looks cute. I wish we could see that. I cannot even see what I'm recording, but there is a bridge up there, a little arced bridge. So here's the other side of the little pathway here. You know, it's another one of those things where I really wish we could get back and see the other sides to this, but there's so many places that are private property, so we just have to enjoy what we can. We'll go to the end of this and you have to turn around and come back. Man, there was a really big fish I just saw. There's two little ones. One there and one there. A bunch of these little fish. That private property must have a lot of birds of some sort. Very loud birds. Geese or partridges or peacocks, or I don't know, what do people keep that makes that sound? I do see a cow, but that wasn't what was making the noise. Over there are some ducks. Now those I know are not geese. So hot out, but I imagine that would be a really good little waterway for ducks and geese to get some food, you know, some fish and things like that. Yeah, there they are. And this is another part of the canal. Some other structures on the other side from where we were before. Little culvert that goes underneath and comes out here to this little spring. Very cute. And the path just ends right here and goes into private property, so we're going to turn around and go back to the car. Okay, back in the car, getting ready to head home. That was a pretty good adventure day. It was really hot and muggy though. You can see my face is all shiny. And I guess, you know, if you wanted to check out, you know, parts of the Union Canal, this would be definitely one of your stops. And now I'm gonna find my way home. I hope you guys are having a nice day. Namaste.